SuperTalk Mississippi media production. Pike County, here comes your morning show. Dave in the morning on 93.5 FM, SuperTalk Mississippi.
So now, understand, you're not going to dictate to me what I do and what I don't do, but I'm still the mayor, Mr. Brown.
None of this meeting is recorded. None by any parties. Correct?
No, sir, mine is recorded. I'm being accused.
Any conversation.
Said I want to make it on record. I want the allegations in writing, party accused, party on recording of this harassment.
And now, here's your host, Dave Hughes.
Good morning to you. The rain is gone, and so is the heat. So, it's two sides to every coin, right? Welcome to a beautiful Wednesday morning. It's going to get chilly tonight, down to around 32 degrees. We'll take a better look at the weather here in just a little bit. But right now, we have in studio with us we've got Dr. Keith Speed, who is the program director for the residency program at Southwest Mississippi Regional Medical Center. And with you, you've got Robert Weathersby. How are you?
Doing well, Dave.
You guys, this is a cool program, and first things first, I want to get this out of the way because there are about 18 million medical shows on TV, so people may not fully understand what a residency program is. What is, whichever one of you would like to take this and run with it, what is a residency program? What's it doing at the hospital?
Well, Dave, what we do is we train these young physicians after they graduate from medical school, and they choose a specialty that they want to go into these days. And for us, we're training physicians to be family physicians or family medicine physicians with a focus primarily on training them to work in rural parts of Mississippi and preferably here in the southwest part of the state. But we hopefully are going to get them prepared to meet that challenge.
Well, and that's, I think, two very important focuses. We're all aware of the challenges with healthcare in rural areas, but going into family medicine, that hasn't been the popular choice lately, has it?
It has not been. Most physicians, they come out of medical school and I guess they get visions of the financial goals and stuff, and family physicians are not really high on that totem pole. But just like I guess you can compare somewhat to the infantry and the military, we're the ones on the front lines of meeting healthcare needs.
I would think as a family physician, you get to touch a lot more lives and help a lot more people than a specialist does.
We do. In my 30 plus years of private practice, I had patients from newborns all the way till they went on to meet their maker. And it was a rewarding experience for me, and that's why I'm choosing to try to train these guys to show them what an exciting time it can be in their careers and lives.
Family physician, kind of like working in the ER. You never know what's going to walk through the door at any given moment.
That's exactly right.
Anything from a bobo to a serious problem is going to be a challenge. Now, Robert, I'm going to phrase this positively. How much fun is it to wrangle the residency program?
It's been a joyful experience. We're
new to this process. This is our first year. We have our inaugural group of young physicians on our campus, and I think our faculty and staff and nurses and team, we're more excited than the residents are, I believe, at this point. But we have a group of 4 great individuals who are helping us to get through this initial year of the residency program.
Well, and that's kind of a challenge for them too, because you're in uncharted territory and so are they.
That's
so
right.
You're all kind of having to work together to figure this out.
Yeah, we're all pioneers.
That's right.
Covered wagon incoming from Dr. Speed. Now, let me ask you this. What are the possibilities of some of these folks sticking around here? They get here, they spend here a year, and they go, it's a pretty nice place. This isn't bad.
Statistics show that where the resident, the physician does their residency at, they usually tend to stay in that area. And so we're hoping that each year, once we get to our maturity of 3 years and we graduate a class of residents, we're hoping that those physicians will decide that we really enjoyed these past 3 years and we want to continue or start our career right here in Macomb or the surrounding areas. If not Southwest, we want to definitely encourage them to stay within the state of Mississippi.
Well, and that's the thing, and here's a very important part of what you just said, Robert. Even if they don't stay at Southwest, because people might look at this as purely a recruitment program for the hospital. That's not the case. You're trying to get people here doing a job that's not the most popular choice to do, right, Doctor?
Yes, that's correct. We have, we would love for them to stay in this area, and particularly the southwest part of the state. But my mission has been always to provide family medicine physicians for the entire state of Mississippi, and that's what we hope to do. Some of them will choose to return home, maybe California, but at least when they go back, they have learned a lot of stuff from us and the way that things can be done differently.
And the other thing that I think is important about that is they also learn, if they are from California, but if they are from California, they learn how to deal with and treat an entirely different group of people. Because
exactly.
And I've talked about this before. I think one of the biggest failings that we have in America right now is people don't leave the house. Mm-hmm. They don't leave the county they were born in. You learn so much when you expand your horizons that way.
Yeah.
So I think that's very important. Now, you said 3 years. So the residency program is 3 years for each group that comes through.
That's correct.
So this first group's got another 2 years,
that's
basically.
Right. And as they continue to go through these next couple of years after they finish their inaugural year, they will be the role model for the incoming class of residents each year. And so once they get to their 3rd year, we're hoping that they've gained enough knowledge and skill set that they can start to instill from peer to peer to the incoming residents, and they become the chief resident and continue to teach and grow, and hopefully the incoming will benefit from that.
I know there's going to be a difference by the time they get to that 3rd year from when they first walked in the door. Do you already see that difference after just a year?
Well, we're not even a whole year. We're just basically 6 months in, and from my perspective, I can already see a big change in all 4 of them, and the skill set they came in with and where they're at today. It's improving on a daily basis.
Well, and that, to me, a residency program is so important because just like any other job, you ask anyone that has a job, what you learn in school and what you learn on the job are 2 completely different categories, aren't they, Dr.
Exactly right. I always laugh and tell a lot of the residents, I said, some diagnosis, if I went by just what's in the textbook, I would have probably missed it. because it doesn't happen that way.
Yeah, the real world doesn't fit in a book. We want it to desperately. We want a list of very clear instructions for everything, but
it's not always the case in medicine.
And it's not the case with the residency program either.
Right.
And I'll bet you'll say an amen to that one because you know what I'm talking about.
Exactly.
It's a challenge on a daily basis. Now, is this going to be an ongoing program? You're just doing this every year from now on, bringing in another crew,
another group every year,
and we're also hoping to learn academic medicine and also look at other specialties that we could possibly bring to the area. We want to get this one down packed first, and then we'll continue our strategic thinking through that.
You talked about the financial aspect of family practice physicians. Is there any kind of intramural attitude about, oh, well, I'm a specialist, you're just a general practitioner?
I think in years past there has been some of that, but today I don't think we see that nearly as much because even a lot of your specialists upstream, they see the family physician as a resource to get patients for them to see. Because, again, we're on the front line, we're the ones seeing them, and if it's beyond our skill set to take care of those patients, then we're going to refer them on up to somebody who can take care of them.
Well, and a lot of these specialists, to me anyway, from the outside looking in, obviously, a lot of these specialists, you don't just call them and make an appointment, you have to be referred, and if there's no family physician to refer you, well, you're going to sit there and play tiddlywinks all day. So exactly what you're talking about there. Very important. So this particular group, this class, you said 4 residents that you brought in. Is that going to be the number every year?
Well, we're accredited for 6 each year. And so we're hoping that this year we will have 6 additional residents to come in. Year 1, we had our group of 4 that we really thought matched well with our program. And so we said, hey, look, we're going to start this inaugural year off with these 4. And then each year moving past, our goal is to have 6 additional residents each year.
Well, and the thing that I want to make sure everybody catches this, if you're qualified to have 6, and it's a program where they're in the residency program for 3 years. So you're adding new ones every year. In a couple of years' time, we're going to have 18 doctors on the ground in Macomb that we did not have this time last year.
That's right.
Exactly.
That's huge.
And they start seeing patients year one. As soon as they start under the direction of the faculty, they start to see patients immediately. So the access to a provider greatly improves with the program.
Well, obviously. And I think that that peer leadership that you were talking about would be important too, because you learn so much more from someone who's just a step or two ahead of you in something than you do from someone like Dr. Speed, who's been doing it for, by the looks of you, at least 5-6 years.
That's right.
And just go with it, Doc. Just roll with it.
I'm going with you.
We will all testify to this. Just roll with it. But someone who you might feel is so far ahead of you, they don't remember what it's like to be me. They don't understand. Well, no, but this guy does. Listen to him. Yeah. That's an important thing.
So to that point, Dave, I've been intrigued to understand that we do have some residents who finish their residency program and they may have been the chief resident upon completion, and they realize, hey, look, I really enjoy teaching and I also get to see patients as well. So we do have some residents that will complete the program and go immediately into a teaching role within the residency program.
Oh, see, that's great. This is the way. It's not really, but it is similar. It's almost kind of an apprenticeship program for the medical profession.
It is. It's very much like that. And the faculty we serve is mentors, and again, sometimes they don't always think that we know what we're talking about, because we've been around so long. But
you're older and stupid. That's the way it works always. Yeah.
So, but I know I've had guys come back to me and said, I wish I'd listened to you.
I think we all have that experience where we've heard that at some point. So yeah, I can relate to that. Now, having said that, and I know we're just 6 months in, probably not a long enough time to have collected anything like this, but have you had a resident yet come to you and go, hey, I need help, ask you a question, and you go, I don't have a clue?
Knock on wood, I haven't yet.
Yet.
Yeah, is the key word, yet. But I'm sure that will come. So far, we've been able to answer the questions and stuff, or at least set them on track to go look it up.
Well, and that's the trick. I was told this way back early in my school career, that the object of all of this is not to know everything, is to know where to find out.
Exactly.
The things that you don't know. And sooner or later, I think you're right. Somebody's going to ask you a question, and you're going to go, that's never come up. I don't know. Let's go find out. And then everybody knows. But the residency program does, I think, highlight one other thing, because you've got these folks, wherever they're from, that are really outside of their comfort zone with this entire experience, and they're willing to do it. And because of that, you've got somebody to take care of your family when they have a problem, when they have a health issue. That's enormous that we have people that are willing to step out of that comfort zone that most of us live in all day, every day, and take on something like this. But it takes good people standing there to help them.
And give them some direction and guidance on what to do and when to do it. And, basically being able to, sometimes it just takes the fact that all you have to do is take your hand and put it on their shoulder and tell that patient, hey, everything's going to be okay. And you may not have to write a prescription. You may not have to recommend surgery. It's just that fact that you touched them and reassured them that things were going to be okay that does the trick.
Same thing applies to the residents, doesn't it?
It does.
That's right.
And that's what we try to instill in them, is to have that compassion and empathy for the patient and their situation. Sometimes is the only medicine you need.
And then to your point for the residents, these are young individuals who are starting their lives, their careers, their families, and sometimes they also need that touch on the shoulder to say, hey, look, we're going to get through this together. There's nothing that we can't, figure out. So that goes for the patient as well as the resident.
The basic human condition means that all of our existences basically boil down to a search for somebody to tell us it's all going to be okay. And give us that confidence to move forward. But we are dangerously close to getting me off into the mental impacts on health, which is a whole different show.
It is real, though.
But it is real.
It is real.
It's very much real. It's all in your head. That's not negative. That's positive as long as you approach it the right way. But I just promised I wasn't going to go there, and now you drag it. Robert, it's your fault. I blame you 100% for that. That's all you. Any final thoughts? Anything else you want to get out about the residency program at Southwest Regional Medical Center?
I think the big thing is we want the public to know that we're out there to help take care of them. Our clinic that the residents work, we see everybody from newborns to the old folks, and we welcome anybody that wants to come see us.
And the clinic is located in our medical pavilion. In the Premier Clinic is where it houses our residency program. I do want to let everybody know and let the community know that we are in the works of constructing a new residency clinic that will be a remodel of a building that's already on our campus directly across the street from the main hospital. And so be on the lookout in the next months to come for that renovation to be taking place.
We like construction around here. It's always a good sign when we
growth.
Construction. Yes,
that's right.
Fantastic. Robert Weathersby, Dr. Keith Speed, thoroughly enjoyed this. And when you guys have about 6 hours to kill, come back and we'll talk about the whole mental thing, because it's going to take that long probably to get through it.
I hear you.
Keep up the good work.
Okay.
Enjoy yourselves and keep making people feel better about feeling better.
Will do. Thank you, Dave.
Thanks for having us.
We will continue on this Wednesday morning on Super Talk, Mississippi, Pike County 93.5 after this.
Needing some extra cash? Do you have any fine art, rarities, military memorabilia, scrap gold or silver, watches, coins or currency, broken old jewelry that you don't need anymore? Come see us at Selman's Tuesday, December 10th through Thursday, December 12th, and turn that into cash on the spot. Experts here to help you out with your needs, and then you can do some Christmas shopping. Selman's, 1311 Delaware Avenue, Macomb, your family-owned and operated jewelry store since 1945.
Don't miss Dave in the morning, even when you miss it the first time. You can catch it on the podcast. Missing out would be a crime. Super Talk 93.5 is always the place to be. Wanna get the podcast version? Here, my friend, is the key. SuperTalkPikeCounty.com. It's all there and it's all the rage. Spotify, Amazon or Apple, or just right there on the page. Dave in the morning, late at night, or anytime you have to pray. SuperTalkPikeCounty.com. It's all there and it's all the rage. Spotify, Amazon or Apple, or just right there on the page.
Welcome back, Super Talk, Mississippi, Pike County 93.5. Dave Hughes, and yes, the cold weather settling back in for a day or two. Today, that wind's going to pick up, high of 55, low tonight right around the freezing mark. And then we'll start a slow warm-up on the way to more rain for the weekend. I know. It's exciting. It's actually very nice out there today. It's great weather. We'll take it. All right, several things to discuss. Yes, there was a board meeting last night. It was a fairly sedate affair. They skipped the executive session. They skipped recognizing retired fire chief. I can say retired in the past tense now because that happened at the end of November. Retired Fire Chief Gary McKenzie, he wasn't able to be there, so they're going to recognize him at another meeting. Nothing wrong with that. Like I said, they skipped the executive session. And the rest of it was pretty standard business as usual. There was a long discussion about repaving projects in the Delaware Avenue project, and we just flat out don't have time to get into it this morning. And I say that in all seriousness because if I said nothing about anything, if I clarified nothing, and the second we got done with Robert and Dr. Speed, I had just hit play on it, we would not have had enough time to play it all. a long, involved conversation. So we'll hopefully get to that in the next day or two. Do have some things I want to alert everyone to, and one of them, this was put out by his daughter on Facebook. So I feel comfortable sharing this because it has been made public by a family member, and it involves a very close, dear friend of mine. I think everybody at this point knows the name Richard Coughlin. Richard and I fought in the Katrina Wars together. When Katrina came through, we worked together extremely closely, including well before I ever managed to get things back on the air. Before the station got everything in place and we got back on the air, he and I were working together. We were doing everything we could. It was a rough time. I've had plenty of other things that I have worked with Richard on over the years. Apparently, and I'm not going to go into too much detail here, but our former director of emergency services, not really, is a civil defense director, Richard Coughlin, apparently has had a stroke and is in the hospital. So I want you to take a moment today and just spare a thought for Richard. One of a kind, incredibly good at what he did before he retired. Incredibly good. I don't think people realized, and we've had this many times over the years in Southwest Mississippi. I don't think anybody realized the level of professional that we had in that office with Richard Coughlin. That's not taking away anything from anyone that's over there now, Tina or anybody else. They're all fantastic at what they do. Richard would get calls from around the country asking for help. A lot of that was due to the Swiftwater rescue team that he put together, but just in general, he was very well respected everywhere you went, and for good reason. He had earned that respect. So just wanted to put that out there and ask you to spare a moment, send some positive thoughts and prayers and good energy in Richard's direction. Because he's got another battle. He's got another fight going on right now. But if there's one thing I've learned over the years of being associated with him, knowing him and working with him, it's this. If I have a chance to wager on a fight and he's involved, I'm betting on him. That's where my money's going. And more often than not, I'm going to win. So just spare a thought for him. Another one, and this is a name going back for folks in Macomb who grew up in Macomb, who have been in Macomb for a long time. You might not know the name Philip Young. You might not know who that is, Philip Young. He passed away at the age of 86. Now, if you didn't recognize the name, and again, if you just moved to Macomb in the last 10, 15 years, no clue who this is by either name. But if you go back further than that, if you've grown up in Macomb, you know the name Chicken Black. Everybody knew who Chicken Black was. Philip Young was his actual name. He passed away at 86. And there were some reports. I love the obituary who said that he was reputed by some to be a genius at math. That's not incorrect. Chicken Black was a great example of how we let our preconceived notions of people based on what we can see affect who we think they are. He was very intelligent. If you ever stopped and talked to him, if you ever watched, if you ever put a critical mind towards what he did and the way he did it, he was a very, very smart guy. He was. But he was also a fixture in downtown Macomb for years and years and years. Chicken Black was a character. And that's one thing I think we're missing right now. We don't have a Chicken Black. We don't have a Rhinestone Cowboy. We don't have characters anymore. I haven't seen anyone mention this or talk about it, but we don't. All when we were growing up, you could go down and you could find down there, including when it was Sunshine Square, don't get me started, but you could find on Main Street the Rhinestone Cowboy in his outfit with his car, usually parked right around the corner on Broadway, parallel parked, had his little jam box, and he was playing music and buck dancing on a daily basis. And if you stop to watch him and to listen to him for a few minutes, you had a pretty good chance that Chicken Black would come wandering up. We had characters, and I think that comes from, in part at least, someplace having character. Let me ask you this. I mean, back during that time, and I'm talking like 70s, 80s, you ask someone, tell me about some of your stories about Macomb. No crime. I don't want to hear about any bad stuff happening. Just tell me about your stories about Macomb. What you got? Where are you from? Where'd you grow up at? If you grew up in the 70s and 80s, you've got stories. Oh, you got stories that you can tell. If you ask someone that's, let's say someone that was born in 2010, and you ask them, tell me about the town you grew up in. Tell me about where you grew up. Give me some stories. I want to hear some good stuff. What are they going to tell? Now, I'm not saying that, we have to put out applications for the next Chicken Black or Rhinestone Cowboy. It doesn't work that way. But fertile ground lets things grow. It's been a while since we could have called it fertile ground because, well, things changed. A lot of that is because things changed in general all over the country, not just here. But we seem to have lost some of that sense of, I'm not going to say wonder because that's not really appropriate, but that sense of fun, maybe? That sense of every single thing all day, every day can't be 100% sour-faced serious. Sometimes you just got a guy in a glittery outfit dancing in his boots on Main Street because, well, that's what he does. Well, that doesn't make any sense. Life improves so much. Life gets so much better when you stop trying to make every single thing make sense. The Rhinestone Cowboy, they actually dismantled his house. Used to be down on 51. Dismantled his house and put it back up inside, big warehouse type facility, but it's in a museum up north. Look it up. Go Google it. Chicken Black, not the same thing, not the same category, which again is great, but everybody knew him. Everybody, even if you didn't know him, you knew of him. And he was actually a good guy. Got looked down on by a lot of people, but don't we all at some point or another, right? So I'm just saying, release your inhibitions, unclench your orifice, I'm going to put it like that, and realize that this pervasive attitude of everything has to be serious and all business 24/7, 365 is killing this country and every place within it, in my opinion. I'm going to lean on a quote. I actually saw it last night in a different context, but I'm going to lean on a quote from The Shining. All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. There's a lot of truth in that old axiom that they stole and slightly rephrased for the movie. All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. Yes. Yeah, that's a good point, Ronnie. Ronnie says now all they do is show their rears on the second floor of City Hall. Yeah. Well, that's what I'm talking about. And all of that is rooted in everything has to be serious 24/7. I'm sorry, even when occasionally something happens and there's laughter in a meeting, it doesn't have the same flavor. It doesn't feel like a welcome diversion and moment of relief from all the hard work and attention that has to be given. Now, part of that is because it doesn't matter what you bring out, what you talk about, what you say, what you do. Immediately, someone is going to run forward to explain how you're a horrible person for doing that or saying that, and you're wrong, and you need to go away, and you're awful, and we shouldn't allow people like you anywhere around here ever again. If the attitude that is prevalent now was prevalent in the 70s and 80s in Macomb, the Rhinestone Cowboy and Chicken Black probably wouldn't have existed in the way they existed. And if they had, nobody would have noticed, except to scream at them. And that's sad to me. The main reason it's sad is because it's so easy to fix. It's so easy to deal with. Well, I say easy, it's simple. Simple and easy are not the same thing. And while it may not be easy, it is simple. And forgive me for the way I'm going to put this, but it is the most effective way, I think, to put it. The easiest way to deal with that and to do that is stop being such a hard ass. 24/7, everything is serious. We've got to shut up and go dance on Main Street. I mean, these days, you're not going to see that. And before you say, yeah, if I did that, everybody would look at me like I was crazy. Guess what happened with the Rhinestone Cowboy? Guess what the opinion was of Chicken Black? But there is importance in basically providing a service. And that's giving people some flavor in their lives, giving them stories to tell, giving them something to look back on other than I went to work, I got some food, I went home, I went to bed. But let me tell you how mad I was most of the day. Nobody fondly remembers any of that. Jerry Clower, when he was alive. Most people have a Jerry Clower story because he was always around. When he wasn't out doing shows, he was around. Lived out in East Fork, but he was in Macomb all the time. We lost something. And the only way we will get it back, the only way we will even move in the general direction of getting it back, is to unclench. Just a little bit. Oh no, you can still spend 90% of your day furious and terrified. Go right ahead. If that's what you think is productive, go for it. But I'm going to say, with that attitude floating around, let's look at the last 5 to 10 years and all the progress that has been made. Well, that ain't working. Maybe we want to, to borrow a phrase when we talk about going back to the attitude of the 70s and 80s. We had problems, but our problems didn't identify us, and they weren't our life, and they didn't lead us to identify everybody else with a rock-solid certainty that's not warranted or justified. Maybe we should try making America great again. That phrase has a lot of ground it covers. There's a lot of juice in that statement. And all of it is tied together. Those attitudes led to the success and the life that we had and the way we lived it. That's a piece of the puzzle. Why do you think, a great example here, why do you think President Trump has so much fun poking fun at everybody? You know, he released a cologne. Did you see what he did? He was in an event a week or two ago, and Jill Biden was there, and they got along quite well. There was an empty seat between them, but almost as if Joe was there. But she was leaning over and talking. Well, at one point, he's leaning forward talking to somebody, and she's leaned in his direction with a smile on his face. He used that picture to advertise his cologne. You'll smell so good, even your enemies can't resist. That's the attitude we need. Right there. Sending out tweets, saying what a great time he had having the governor of the state of Canada for dinner at Mar-a-Lago. Just dead straight-faced. Put it out. Before you say serious people don't have fun, I want you to stand and look eye to eye, face to face with President-elect Donald Trump and tell him that. Ironically enough, he's not going to think you're a very serious person at that point. We continue on this Wednesday morning right after this.
I'll sit around and drink a few more beers until the memory just disappears. 'Cause you ain't worth the salt in my tears.
Needing some extra cash? Do you have any fine art, rarities, military memorabilia, scrap gold or silver, watches, coins or currency, broken old jewelry that you don't need anymore? Come see us at Selman's Tuesday, December 10th through Thursday, December 12th, and turn that into cash on the spot. Experts here to help you out with your needs, and then you can do some Christmas shopping. Selman's, 1311 Delaware Avenue, Macomb, your family-owned and operated jewelry store since 1945.
Don't miss Dave in the morning. Even when you miss it the first time, you can catch it on the podcast. Missing out would be a crime. Super Talk 93.5 is always the place to be. Want to get the podcast version? Here, my friend, is the key. SuperTalkPikeCounty.com. It's all around, it's all the rage. Spotify, Amazon, or Apple, or just right there on the page. Dave in the morning, late at night, or anytime you have the crave. SuperTalkPikeCounty.com.
Weekday mornings at 6 after 9 on 93.5 FM, or you can catch up anytime by going to
SuperTalkPikeCounty.com.
Dave in the Morning at SuperTalkPikeCounty.com. Catch up and catch on.
Well, you can tell everyone I'm a down disgrace. Drag my name all over the place. I don't care anymore. You can tell everybody about the state I'm in. You won't catch me crying 'cause I just can't win. I don't care anymore. I don't care anymore. I don't care.
Welcome back.
What you
Super Talk.
say.
Mississippi, Pike County.
Don't play the same games you play. 'Cause I've been talking to the people
I'm
that
looking
you call
at-
your friends, and it seems to me there's a means to it, and they don't care anymore.
A post about Chicken Black and his passing. And there's 122 comments. Over 60 people have shared it. The stories people are telling in the comments. A lot of people just reminiscing, just just talking about various things, just saying what a smart guy he was, and he was. Someone left a comment, said he was a classic example of never judge a book by its cover, which I would agree with. Somebody else was talking about they hated when he got rid of the Michael Jackson outfit. He actually had like a red leather tracksuit with the black stripes. It was basically one of Michael Jackson's outfits, same kind of thing that he wore around. But I do see a couple of people referring to him as a Macomb icon. I would agree with that. As I said, if you grew up in Macomb, if you lived in Macomb, especially in the 70s and 80s, and even into the 90s, you knew who he was. You had heard the name. You had seen him. He had probably asked you for a cigarette. I don't care if you were 7. He still asked you. But it was an experience, and it was a shared experience that everyone got to talk about. Who else would you put in that list? I've mentioned Chicken Black. I've mentioned the Rhinestone Cowboy, which is probably the gold standard of icons and characters from Macomb. Jerry Clower, of course, passing through here. I'm not talking about famous people that came from Macomb. I'm talking about people that were providing unique Macomb experiences. I included Jerry in that statement because you don't hear a ton of stories about people running into Jerry in Brookhaven. He came back and forth to Macomb, as they had for most of their lives. Who else would you put in that category from Macomb's past? I mean, I fully admit and am aware we don't really have that right now, which is the point of what I was talking about. But who else would you put in that category? That's going to draw over 100 comments within 24 hours of people telling their stories and talking about what a part of Macomb they were. Who you got? I want to hear this. We used to have that. We used to have that in multiples. And maybe I'm just not thinking about it. Maybe I'm just, the old brain isn't ticking over appropriately. But I don't know of anyone that I would put in that category right now. I mean, Packer Lewis, but he's in jail. So he's been a little bit of everything. He's been Santa Claus, took a snake for a waffle. Yeah, there's a lot of stories around him, but it's not quite the same thing. Really. So who you got? I want your suggestions. Miss Maddie, somebody just sent me. Miss Maddie, she definitely deserves the title Macomb Icon. 1,000,000% she deserves that title. And she would kind of fit in that category, I think, yeah. By the way, has anybody ever talked to anyone, any scientist, any university anywhere, to get some kind of study done to remember, to figure out how to get a memory like Miss Maddie? I could run into Miss Maddie today, and she would remind me of something at the library from 40-something years ago, ask about my kids by name, ask about my pets, how they're doing by name. How does she do that? I don't remember if I had breakfast. How does she do that? I've never understood it. It's one of the mysteries of life. But yeah, that's a good suggestion, Miss Manny. Jesse Bingham, somebody named and suggested. I just think we lost something. And what little we do have left, we're losing. And the only way to get that back is, again, unclench. Just a little bit. That's all you got to do. Update posted on Facebook, by the way, again, by a family member. Richard Coughlin, talking better this morning, stood up okay with a little help. And is showing obvious signs of recovery. So good. Because personally, we go back far enough. I can't wait for him to get fully recovered so I can give him heck about it. That's the way it works. But that is a good update. That's good news. I'm very glad to hear that. And let's just keep that trend going, shall we? I just want an uninterrupted, continuous stream of good updates on Richard. Look, and before you say anything, I haven't asked for anything else for Christmas.
If you cry,
give me this one.
if you reached out for me, I would run
Final break.
to the storm just to keep
Then we're going to yank the plug out of the wall on this thing for another day.
me on my heels.
With a couple of reminders before we go, right after this on Super Talk, Mississippi, Pike County, 93.5.
'Cause I know you see me too. Let me take a step towards you. Let me feel you in my hands. Let me cross this line and show you where it leads. There's a time.
Needing some extra cash? Do you have any fine art, rarities, military memorabilia, scrap gold or silver, watches, coins or currency, broken old jewelry that you don't need anymore? Come see us at Selman's Tuesday, December 10th through Thursday, December 12th, and turn that into cash on the spot. Experts here to help you out with your needs, and then you can do some Christmas shopping. Selman's, 1311 Delaware Avenue, Macomb, your family-owned and operated jewelry store since 1945.
Don't miss Dave in the morning. Even when you miss it the first time, you can catch it on the podcast. Missing out would be a crime. SuperTalk 93.5 is always the place to be. Want to get the podcast version? Here, my friend, is the key. SuperTalkPikeCounty.com. It's all there and it's all the rage. Spotify, Amazon, or Apple, or just right there on the page. Dave in the morning, late at night, or anytime you have the crave. SuperTalkPikeCounty.com.
Dave Hughes here. Remember, every weekday morning at 9:06, it's Dave in the Morning, where we solve the problems of the world, or at least complain about them, really loudly and sarcastically. And if you miss out, you can catch up with the podcast version of Dave in the Morning at SuperTalkPikeCounty.com.
Closing time. Open all the doors and let you out into the world.
Just a couple of quick reminders.
Closing time. Turn all of the lights on.
Pike County Little Theater has Jingle All the Way going on all week. Of course, Saturday night, your imaginary friends getting back together at the State Theater.
Finish your whiskey or beer.
Improv comedy at its... Wait, no, I think we established yesterday. At its finest is probably violating some sort of truth in advertising law, but $5 a head. We're going to have a good time, so make sure to try to join us for that. And also, we're getting down to freezing tonight, so it's not a good night to hose down the kids and make them sleep in the yard. You're welcome for the safety tip. Have a great day. We'll do this again tomorrow morning at 9:06 for North Pike Thursday, my friend. I'll see you then.
A SuperTalk Mississippi media production.